Yeah.
Apple Watch time is 6, so we're calling the meeting to order. Roll call Emily. Here. Hannah.
Here.
Noah.
Here.
Kevin.
Here.
Tim.
Here.
Harry.
Here.
And we are missing Kelsey and Margaret and Adam. So the first item on the agenda is selection of officers. The way we do this is we first take nominations from the floor for chair of the board. So we'll accept those at this point.
Nominate Noah.
I'll second that.
Chair for life.
Excuse me, do I need to write who motioned and seconded?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, for that.
Okay, so who made the motion, Tim? And who seconded?
This is really a nomination, so yeah, just write that down and then we'll see if there are any other nominations. If there are no other nominations, then the chair stands. And then we look at the vice chair. If we only have one chair and vice chair, they can run as a slate and then you vote on the slate. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If we have more than one, then we vote on them as we go. Okay, so we have,
Want to do it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
that's, I would,
In my department,
We would be in a fight if we didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. In your world, absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah.
sorry, I'm just promoting our school board liaison to panelists. Okay, so any other nominations for chair? Okay, seeing none. Any nominations for vice chair?
I can't make the June meeting. I'm just saying that whoever's vice chair.
Vice chair has to
has
do
to
the
do
June meeting.
Because it's high school graduation.
Chair
that day.
do.
It's
nothing
mostly
you
I've
can't
watched
do.
you.
Chair the meeting when. That's a good answer, yeah.
Chair the
Nothing
meeting,
you
and then
can
I send the, if Noah's gonna be out of town, the week before, I send the agenda to the chair to make sure that everything is on it that needs to be on it and there are no additions. If he's still here and he's just not available for the meeting, he can still do that. But other than that, just preside over the meeting.
You're good at vice chair.
Would you,
I'll do it.
I nominate him.
I second. Thank you.
Okay, any other nominations for vice chair? Okay, so closing the nominations, we have Noah Evans as chair and Anna Roman as vice chair. If somebody wants to make that motion,
To accept by acclamation.
absolutely.
Sounds good.
All right, chair,
Great.
your meeting.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You think? Maybe.
Happy to serve in this way. It's a privilege and it's really super interesting. And this is a great committee. I mean, we've done good work together and it's great that we have continued, at least for a number of months, all being together. And then some people might be elected to office and that might change things.
Hopefully. I mean, not that we get the change. But hopefully they'll get to office, because I think both of you'd be good.
Right?
Yeah, you are.
And Margaret's now opposed as well.
No, Margaret's not unopposed. Margaret has.
That's changed.
He withdrew.
He withdrew. Yeah.
We'll talk after.
Sounds good. Okay.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
I'll motion.
There's a second. Any discussion, all in favor? Anyone opposed? Citizens' comments appear to be.
We do have one citizen, Mr. Knapp, would you like to comment?
Oh,
Raise your
Brian
hand if you
Nash.
would.
Hi, Brian.
He does not have his hand raised, so that is the conclusion.
The no citizens' comments. Okay, I don't have anything additional to report. We submitted all of our documents to the commission. I have not yet heard anything. We'll see if on the commission liaison report, whether we have any updates from that, so.
Okay.
Commission liaison report.
Commission liaison report. The commission was ready to discuss some of what you put in their last meeting, but I, however, was not able to attend. I only could attend the discussion meeting because I'd had eye surgery. So we ended up not discussing it. But the feedback is that they were looking for more of a policy and less of a list of things to do. And so one of the commissioners has put forth a kind of, I'm gonna call it a straw dog policy because I don't think he'd ever really been involved with this committee. So he put something up and there's, discussion back and forth through commission channels. Once that's fleshed out a little bit more, I'll certainly bring it back to this committee for your comments. I think in terms of a list of things to do, my concern is, I was thinking about this. It's getting more volunteers to help. And I wondered if, I can understand why you would volunteer at your church. It's kind of an affinity of, all your friends and neighbors and people you know well. I'm just not sure we're being realistic if we think we're gonna have a lot of volunteers to help for municipal events. I mean, I wonder if there isn't a little bit of the, hey, my tax dollar already pays for that. I don't wanna go, man a booth for 4th of July or that kind of thing. So I think we might need to be more realistic about how much we can pull off as a group in terms of numbers of events. But that doesn't mean we can't partner with people to do those. There isn't any reason that we can't say, well, we already do, for example, partner with other groups to pull things off. One is the partnership that's on Washington Road. They do the Uptown Farmers Market. And that's really, they use our space, et cetera, and it's a pretty good partnership, I think. So I think we'll have to look at it in that lane. Oh, of course you can comment.
I feel like we only really added one event that's gonna take any resources. And one or two that are gonna take a very small amount of municipal resources, like lighting the menorah or hanging up things for
Mhm.
a Lunar New Year. I mean, those two were more like somebody's gotta do something once a day, and we could even light the menorah. I mean, we all said we would do that, except for Hispanic.
Fairness, Kevin, we added MLK today, this year with no additional staff, and the staff was stressed. But I mean, everybody rose to the occasion, but we added Lunar New Year, which wasn't on there, Ramadan, which wasn't on there, and the Hispanic Heritage, that's 3. And then if you consider the lighting of the menorah, I mean, unless we're all gonna take turns doing that, I don't think it's worth using municipal resources.
So I
do
think we
that.
did talk about us taking turns doing it, and I mean, Lunar New Year, we just talked about hanging some stuff up. We weren't really having a big thing for that. And we did MLK already this year, so really, I felt like the only thing that was gonna take any significant amount of resources would have been something for Hispanic Heritage Month with.
And
I have an
Ramadan,
idea for that
Ramadan,
already,
we-
and Ramadan, you were gonna do a.
We can recruit
Right.
partners to
Right.
do that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Partners, what
so
we're looking for.
Yeah, well, so
Yeah.
for instance, it needs to be inclusive, so we can't have one partner. So this is the,
Sure,
like,
sure.
but City of Pittsburgh just did a, Pittsburgh City Hall Ramadan meal, partnered with Turkish Cultural Center, it would be something like that. So, I actually really disagree with you that people aren't gonna
That's okay.
volunteer. So
You can
like,
disagree with me.
No, I mean, like your experience with South Hills, Memorial Day Parade, that's gone from
Mhm.
0 to something.
Oh, yeah.
It's been,
definitely.
it's been work,
Uh-huh,
but
yeah.
you're getting there.
but we're getting there on that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And so I think, having things that people relate to and are excited about, you have a lively group of people who are able to, who frankly have passion and training and
Mm-hmm.
competencies for organizing,
Mhm.
can all be part of what allows that to happen. So I think that now, because if you say, we just need volunteers, you're never gonna have anyone volunteer.
Put the thing out there.
You
is
gotta
that-
put it out there, you gotta say, what I want you to do is help with this part of it. I mean, it's what I do for a living, but like, but if you just, say, we just need volunteers, you like never will get a volunteer.
And I agree
So,
with you,
yeah.
but that still takes someone to do that. And
Mhm.
so while we're on that, I'm gonna be the mean girl
Yeah.
in this group and say, what's the expectation of everyone on this committee to show up? Because I've been on this committee for a year And I'm not seeing people on this committee physically show up. So if we're gonna be on this committee, so for coffee with the cop, shouldn't all of us be there at some point in
Right.
time?
Mhm.
So for the Residence Academy, every person here should take a turn of hosting the night. And that's not showing up and waving, that's showing up with all the packets and doing stuff. MLK Day, the same thing. So if we're gonna be, and Pride, that was the first thing I showed up for, and I think there were only 2 of us that showed up. So if there's 6 or 8 of us on here, the expectation is that if you're on this committee, at least I thought it was, we all show up, and I'm not seeing, and you get a pass.
And you get a pass.
You
Yeah,
gotta
you're
be
baby.
here, but aren't we supposed to show up?
Yeah.
Like I'm calling everybody out, show up. I had 2 people showed up for the Residence Academy. That was it. And they just showed up temporarily and didn't pass things out. So if we're gonna do this and we're asking Laura and her staff to extend themselves, like when we say, Kevin, we're all gonna take a turn with the menorah, I'm not so sure. I think it might be 2 of us. Like, but it has to be, we all have to show.
But I mean, to respect, like, I would have been happy to run one of the days in the Residence Academy if you had asked. I mean.
I don't have to ask you, you have to show up. So I will
Sure.
put it out next year and say, here's the date that you're in charge.
Yeah.
But-
That's probably the way to do it.
But, and that will be the way to do it going forward, which is in the recommendations, but let's just go back to what Ann is saying. Unless we're the leaders of getting the volunteers, and what Noah has pointed out is that if you ask people, I agree with you, they will come, but
Yeah.
somebody has to be in charge of asking, and it can't just be Noah.
Or you. Because
Or
you do
me.
a lot of it.
But I agree with Noah. I have no doubt that we could pull off that list. I mean, I don't think we're adding that much based on what we did this year and people delayed it. I participated in a lot of events, but I didn't lead any events. I'm happy to lead an event next year. So.
But Laura, how will this stress your staff? If you did all of this, would you need to add anybody? Okay,
Yes, and my graphic designers are maxed. So, and again, we are in charge of producing all of the graphic design. So I just had a designer in my office today saying he's burning. So, and they are maxed at 30 hours because they have no benefits, so it's not even like I can pay them overtime. to
Are
come
we
in.
allowed to use volunteer hours to do that stuff, or is that like going
You're-
against?
We have, I mean, Theodore was kind enough to help us with some design on another group. But again, that's still gonna be supervised by our department.
Okay.
It's gotta meet
Yeah.
the standards. You know, there's certain things that can and can't be on there.
Understood,
Logos have to be, and it's marketing too, so it's branding. All of it has to be branded for the municipality, so.
Or is there a brand guide that you can like share that like just can be shared that we can follow so that there's so that there we can have some fidelity to that?
There can be, but again, we really try we try to stay thematic with the event. So we try to get creative and don't make everything look the same. Yeah, there's brand guides for use and size of logo and you know, how things look, but we really try to give you, I mean, you saw what we did with MLK Day. We really try to give everything its own kind of personality fitting within our.
but we could use the same logo that we used for MLK this year for
We
next
can,
year.
or we
Yeah.
can zhuzh it up. I mean, once it's done, once it's easier going forward doing it. But again, we have all the different, it also depends on where we decide to use it, posters, social media graphics, website. We would be asking somebody else. I mean, we ran for Theodore through the ringer with the one of the graphics for the Rocky Blyer event on Thursday. Because we're like, well, no, we're gonna move that up. No, take it, move it. So there's a lot involved in that too. But also just in, you know, all of the other marketing things that we do. And then the event, you know, putting events together. Sometimes there are releases to sign and there was a lot that came up last minute with MLK Day. We needed a projector. We needed a place to park the bus. Now the weather curtailed a lot of that. The
Right.
school district canceled on us. I mean, we were going to have a lot more people than we ended up having. So the biggest thing is having a responsive team to react to all of the things that happened last
Right.
minute, because you all have day jobs and things that you're doing.
Right.
So we're kind of the boots on the ground for that. So yes, we can do it. Yes, if all of that came through or a lot of that came through, then I would have a budget request into the commission for more.
So Ann, when you talked about more policy in less days. Can you elaborate a little bit about that?
Because what the commission really wanted was some guidelines on how to decide what kind of events to have and how to make them inclusive. So when you talk about the menorah, it isn't the menorah per se, it's how do we make that holiday event inclusive, and how do we, what's the word I want? Judge is the wrong word, I'm sorry. But how do we curate what things should be involved in that so that they're most representative of the community? And for us, this is the interesting thing I think about government, which is important, is we need to be extremely consistent every single time. So however we decide that we're going to allow displays of any sort, we have to do it that way every single time. We don't have the luxury of making up our minds as we go along. So it can't be, with each event, we'll decide what we're going to do then, because that just gets us into a lawsuit. We need to be very consistent. And that's what we're looking for, is sort of what should be the consistent process that we go through to make sure that these events are open, and that they're, of value is the wrong word again, but that they bring people together, that they make us the welcoming community we want to be, and that we're not excluding somebody because we don't want to.
So this doesn't make an event, but one thing I was thinking of, and
Yeah.
it does very easily, I think, lend itself to consistency, is how the library does those like prominent table displays for
yeah.
spring or
Yeah.
whatever. One thing that could be consistent, if the library is willing and able to do this, is to have a table display for Hispanic heritage, for
Yes.
Ramadan,
Yes.
for Lunar New Year. And so every time there is a celebratory event on our agenda, that's
Mhm.
something that happens.
That's
Yeah, and part of what in that document is we call out the library's excellent work in that.
Yes, yes, you do.
Because, and the library has more independence than the municipality. So I think that there's a feeling that we want to celebrate what the library is already doing. And also, we're hearing expressions from the wider community that there needs to be more than just the library's events.
Yeah.
And, one instance in particular, which was the winter holiday display,
Mhm.
Yeah.
it was quite hurtful.
So how do we
So-
get the partnership involved with that? Because you could have displays all through
Washington Road, sure. you
Yeah.
could. Yeah, you
and
could.
Beverly Road,
Mhm.
You mean like in the windows
in
of
the windows, like you
establishments?
could put
Yeah.
all of Hanukkah, Ramadan all through.
What I heard that we were told is that, we had to submit something and then the commission would give us direction and we couldn't be going around working our partnerships until we've been said, this
Yes,
is okay to do.
right,
So there's a little bit of a chicken and the egg,
Yeah.
thing
Yes.
on how far we can go in actually
Right.
working and developing any of these ideas. So until the commission says, go for it. So we can say, we think that the partnership would be a good partner, but we
Right.
can't talk to them about it.
But I think it's
so-
really useful to say it has to be consistent. And so pick
Agreed.
the events and then put bullet points and how we would propose,
Mhm.
how we would do this for each of the different proposed
Mhm.
events.
Well,
Bullet point list is the same length for every event.
then as I'm understanding it though, I'm wondering, Emily, if the picking the event, that doesn't even sound like it's part of our job. It sounds like we're supposed to give you criteria for which to pick, for which events to pick. Like say the event should be, I don't know, whatever we can say, like we have a list of events that we think should be celebrated. So it's almost like we need to develop some sort of criteria that make
Match your
those
events.
events fit.
Yeah.
I thought we were the criteria, honestly, after our meeting with the solicitor, I thought we were the criteria. and
I
that
thought we
were
were too.
We were to
Alright.
every year
Yeah.
discern
understand
this
that,
and
yeah.
submit a list.
I thought it
so-
was a list with a possible list but that it was within the resources that were allocated, identifying how we would partner with people. And then, getting feedback, but I can understand why they would think that we didn't have guidelines.
So I think it's fair to say, like, for example, for consistency's sake, if MLK Day is one day and Ramadan is a month or Heritage is a month, then MLK Day should be couched within a month of Black History, right? Like, for consistency, these types of things where it's like, well, how long is it up? It should be consistent, but it should also fit the like theme of the, you know,
Sure.
the celebration.
Yeah,
But I think like there's some considerations in the nitty gritty there that like, I think that it sounds like the commission has these types of questions.
Well, also going back to your point of, you know, your staff only has so much time. And maybe what we look is each year we look about adding something so that we're not overburdening, you know, for the first year of let's do everything. Maybe this year we do Hispanic Heritage Month. And next year we add on, okay, now we'll do the Lunar New Year. And the following year, you know, because that way you're saying you're just tweaking things.
And it depends
year
too
on
on how deep you're talking. If you're
Yeah.
talking Lunar New Year as displays are easy.
Yeah.
Easy. Those are not an issue. Something that's said at the commission meeting, announced at the commission meeting. So anything that the DEI committee recommended as event recognition, that gets announced at each commission meeting. So MLK Day, Black History Month, Disability Employment Awareness Month. Hispanic Heritage Month was also one of them. So there are things that are said there. So magazine articles, we do that anyway.
I was
That
gonna
is-
say,
that is
magazine
no
articles that can go
extra
with it. Yeah.
time, work, capacity. Where you're getting into capacity is when you're having an
An
actual
event.
thing that somebody's
Right.
going to. You have signups, somebody's, you know, managing, you know, all of it. Insurance, events,
Okay.
all the things that, you know, we do.
Do you have that straw dog, as you call the thing to sit around?
No, not at this point, but let the commission, our next meeting is Tuesday. Let us go through it because a lot of suggestions came out of the straw dog, as I call it. And because it didn't consider what we were already doing to some extent, and it needed to be reworked. But yes, I will definitely send it back and get your feedback on it. I have no problem with that. I'm a big believer in transparency.
And just on timing, I am concerned that we do need well before December, in order to plan for December, to have
Oh, yes,
that.
yes. No disagreement
Okay,
there.
all right.
No disagreement.
So I don't want us to spin our.
In the fall.
No, time is of the
Without,
essence.
yeah,
Time is of the essence.
and I think we owe that to
Yeah,
our.
yes, we do.
So, yeah.
Definitely.
And Adam, we asked the last meeting that for swag, so that we have swag for Pride Day.
Here.
But we haven't asked to be able to go to Pride yet. We haven't.
No, yeah,
We
Yeah,
haven't
yeah.
decided
No,
that
because
yet.
we
need a
put it on our
policy.
policy,
Yeah.
We need
or on
a
our,
policy, That's right.
yeah, so.
We'll find out.
June is coming.
I know.
Very soon,
Uh-huh.
like one more meeting.
So, we can in just a minute decide if we want to go ahead and go by our old process of asking, so, but.
I'm trying to think if I have anything else to tell you. Not really. Do I have anything? No. We finished, I look at you. Do I have anything else to tell you? Well, the big lift over the last month was assigning people to the boards and authorities where there were vacancies. And that's always a very time consuming. I mean, the thing of resumes is like this thing. And we go through the resumes, and, you know, all that kind of
Just
stuff.
people that want to volunteer for municipal events.
Could be. Could be. Yep. Get that list out. Maybe that's where we should go. You know, that's where we should go get people.
Saying you didn't get a board.
I
but you
know,
got a
I
bunch of
understand that. I
volunteer
understand
asks.
that. It's a good place to grab people.
Would you like?
It really is. Yeah.
2 years of volunteering.
Yeah, But you know, to some extent, when you're assigning people to boards, you do look at, I mean, I should speak for myself and myself only. I don't know what the other commissioners all do, but I definitely look to see what you've been doing in the community before we put you on a board, because I want you familiar with it and I want to know that you've, you know, put some time into it. So that's an excellent idea, Noah. Thank you. Go grab those emails. Mhm. Okay. Any questions? No?
Did the board talk about how we were like the third best place to look for a house on Realtor? Did you saw?
No, I did see
Because
that.
I didn't appreciate that at all. So what that was, if you read the fine print, is based on the number of views to houses for sale on Realtor.com.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean they bought here. That just means, and I don't know about you, but. The house- now, if you were the house next-
I know
So,
That-
I
Went over to
say-
somebody's house for dinner and you're
Yeah,
like,
if you got the most swipes on the dating service, you get the most dates. So we want the most interest here.
So we've got the nebulous neighbors.
Yeah. Marketing, I'd say we were in the consideration set if most people wanted to move. And so they looked at our.
They wanna know our home. So.
Yeah.
You look at, we still put it on social media. We love when people are happy, so that's a good thing. But something of real value is house values appreciating, houses selling off the market quickly. That's a big indicator.
Well, it certainly
That
is really
happens.
quickly.
that also
Yeah,
happens.
It does, it does.
Sure does. Wow. Yeah.
And it was also put out by the realtors who want to drive you to the website,
Mhm.
realtor.com.
Mhm.
Absolutely. So,
Mhm.
anyway, not to be Debbie Downer.
Laura, do you have anything else?
So just to clarify, because I caused some confusion in my email, the commission did appoint, the three of you back to another term.
Right.
That doesn't mean nobody else is coming back. When the, new boards were put together, they didn't want everybody rolling off at once. So each board had 3 members with 1-year terms, 3 members with 2-year terms, and 3 members with 3-year terms. So the next follow-up question is, when does everybody's term end? Because there were questions. So Kelsey's term ends in 2026. Terry, yours ends in 2026. Emily's yours ends in 2026. Margaret, Izzo's ends in 2027. Adams is 2027. Noah is 2027. Tim, yours is 2028. And 2028 and 2028 for the people who just. So what will happen next year for the people who are up in 2026, I will send another email out asking those who are interested. And if you're interested, the same thing will happen. And you would be eligible for another second term. So that's not to say it's guaranteed. I always say the commission has to approve it.
Do you
But-
know when you have to? Yeah, if
Uh,
you,
December.
okay, so you have to be elected and then boom, okay. That's what I assumed, but you know, we
Yeah,
all know
it's
about
sort of-
that word.
Just First
It's with
Monday.
Margaret,
Yeah.
So we know we're gonna lose the 2, so. is
You
it
know, we're
something
gonna
we can
lose
do
the two, so
proactively?
we have other resumes on file, but always proactively, if you know people who would be good members. Love to have
What
resumes,
is the
because we
process?
will re-advertise
Oh, yeah.
via social media for people to apply for this board, because we're gonna have 2 openings. But boy, if you have good people, have them send their resumes in. I'd love that.
Just for a timing point though, do we have to like wait till December to re-advertise and wait 2 months and all that, or can we re-advertise sooner so we don't have to be?
Well, you don't have the vacancy till somebody puts in their resignation. So
Right, so.
if that wouldn't be appropriate,
Yeah.
ethically, but certainly you can put the word out in the community. And I tell people that anyway, when I went to the Residence Academy on the last night, I said, you know, our deadline has closed for the positions that were open on other boards, but please apply because people move, people, you know, their job changes at work and they don't have
So you can put them
time
in now.
anymore. Yeah, so
that's
that's my
fine.
point,
Then
yeah.
we're-
And then when you are ready
There you go.
to put your resignation, and you put it in writing to the chair and to me, and then it is advertised at that.
As you're looking for people, look for mediation because.
Yes, we're losing
Yes.
the mediator who's doing the mediation and the backup who's going to be doing the mediation.
Mediation are leaving, yeah.
So,
That's a hard job too.
it is, a lot of lawyers have built-in training, and traditionally this board has had a lawyer.
Mhm.
So it is not a bad thing to seek, as Ann was saying, in some of these other boards, planning board, like architect,
Right.
planners, you know, So that would be a
Zoning
good, that would be a good skill set. Yeah, zoning, you're gonna have a big zoning, redoing the zoning code this
Talk
year,
about that one of these days.
which is an equity issue.
Yes, it
Yes.
is, most definitely, so, yeah, very much.
So they just apply, they just go to our website, mountlebanon.org/boards. They can peruse the boards, they see, you know, the member rosters there, the details, the job description.
Right.
And that's it. If anybody has any questions, they can reach out to me directly and I can.
Okay, so we have to vote to establish our committees, for 2025.
Oh,
Which my recommendation would be that we continue the committees as presented. The other thing you'll notice about the agenda too is that, and Laura wrote the extra piece, is that the standards for what's on the agenda have changed somewhat, so that we now actually have to put something about what we're topically discussing. And so that means subcommittees going forward, you should make sure that, Laura and I know, and Anna know what's sort of coming down the pike, so that we can actually put 5 words to the agenda.
Especially if you know you're gonna be making a vote, that's a big one, because when a board and authority, and this wasn't you, they vote on something and the public doesn't know that they're voting on, they don't have a chance to make a comment, so.
Oh, I could have done that. I didn't know. Nobody else either.
oh, worry.
So, so we need to vote to reestablish these 7 subcommittees.
I will say, I think I'm on the committee with Terry for the police, and I've never done anything because we never emailed them. I think you just are very competent and never needed anything, but like, you need me, I can stay on that if you
Great.
would prefer somebody else, because I feel bad I haven't done.
Well,
Did lots with
what
the
you can do is
DI.
vote on the committees and then go through and assign people to the committees, because some people may wanna move around. on the committee. So, yeah.
So the vote is to establish the committees, we can populate them.
Sure.
Populate them as we go, so. Someone has to move the establishment.
So I'll move to establish the 7 committees as identified.
So Tim
I'll
moves it.
second that
And
motion.
seconds that any discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. Okay, so if you, so why don't you let me know? And you can let me know right now, committees you want to be on. They all need to have less than a quorum, so that's part of it. So, and I'll email out the entire group and say, this is the time to re-up them, so. Think about it or just announce it.
Either or, but we're gonna have Karen read it all back to everybody when it is final, because we did have some misunderstandings last time that people were on committees that they didn't know they were on. So
Okay, great.
we wanna make sure that everybody's on the same page, so.
Compare Emily's previous comment, we have, well, Kelsey's not here for MLK Day, you're here, Anna.
Yeah.
Do you want to lead the Residents Academy next year? I mean, that may influence.
Happy to do it,
You
because
wanna-
I
Okay,
think I got it nailed now.
so I think that's the only one.
Are we assuming Kelsey
You wanna
will-
stay?
Yeah, I'm glad.
Well, when you're not here, sometimes you get voluntold.
Okay.
Voluntold.
So certified welcoming is a new, I guess, offshoot of the DEI committee that was not a subcommittee in and of itself. I'm happy to be on that subcommittee. I know I was on DEI. I'm happy to stay or leave that subcommittee. And I think I'm on police engagement and I should engage more with police engagement if I stay on that subcommittee.
Terry, how many people do you need for the 10th? For the coffee with a cup? Coffee with a cup?
Don't need anyone.
Okay.
It's great to be there,
Okay.
but in terms of the logistics of the event, it's simple.
So my office kind of took that back over because
Okay.
I did not hear back from the email. So the police department is planning the actual.
Coffee for
The
the cup.
coffee shop wanted to know if they were providing extra coffee, if they were having cookies. Usually there's a cookie platter. There's usually signage and posters hanging up. So my office took care of that. So there is work that goes along with this. We just did it because I didn't hear back from anybody. So it's taken care of. So all that's really left is day of stuff.
Okay.
Again, trying to keep the traffic smoothly flowing, sometimes the best conversations happen from people who happened in and didn't even know it was going on.
Didn't know it was going.
Especially it is alarming when people walk in and see, we really ask them to tone down the uniforms. The ones who are on patrol do stop in and they are in their uniform, so. Yeah. And they're very excited about it.
Do they, just out of curiosity, do they like, or they don't have one, but you have those like sandwich boards that you.
We did,
Coffee.
we had one, I took it, it was very heavy. I had to carry it across the street last time, it was too heavy to pull back. I made the police bring it back and then it got lost and the person who owned it got mad and took it back and now we're not allowed to have it anymore. Which is why we can't, but we will,
This is why we can't have nice things.
we will put,
Rule 3.
we have things for the windows that say, don't be alarmed, please come in. Because that was what the 1 year that we had it at, Orbis, people were walking by going, oh, did they get robbed? What happened?
Yeah.
And,
I see that.
so. Although there's a lot less incidental foot traffic on Beverly than on Washington, most of those
Yes.
people are deliberately,
Yeah.
and since it's at 9, it will be a little bit after school drop off, so.
Okay, anyone else want to tell me thoughts right now? Okay, I don't have a complete list because we're missing people, so, but I've begun that.
Yeah, somebody ought to take over community service center because
I
Margaret,
know.
yeah.
And that was Anna and
Yeah.
as well, so.
Mhm.
Anna, you're gonna have to decide what you want to prioritize here.
She can't do them all.
You can't do them all, but
I'm happy to be on it Tim and I did that with Margaret,
Yeah.
but you're likely not to be on.
yeah, and Margaret's not likely not to be on.
Uh-uh.
Okay.
Yeah. Moving on.
Yep.
Well, you can also volunteer the 2 new people that they are on a
Yeah.
committee as well.
Yeah.
There you go.
And that, I mean, given
It's a
the
good way-
timing of that one, that.
Yeah, I'm happy to be on it
Yeah.
and even chair it this year just
Yeah.
because
Great.
we did it once,
We're
but
sharing it, we just got other people.
okay. we need
And that's a
to-
super easy one for this.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean, I
really
just
is.
dump
It was.
everything into the
Yeah.
folder and.
So let's go through subcommittee reports. So police engagement, we've already around the edges talked about coffee with the cop. coming
Yeah,
up.
that's basically it. Next
Okay.
Thursday, coffee tree, 9 to 10:30.
Are others able to come at all? I'm not able to be there.
I said I would go.
Okay.
I
I can stop by too.
Yeah.
Oh, no, just kidding. Next week I can't. Never mind. Sorry. I'm out of town.
Bring your friends and neighbors.
Yeah, that's
That's the
bigger
thing, yeah,
piece,
yeah.
In
I will-
in your circles, just to
Yeah.
invite people, let them know it's, share the social media, whatever.
Especially if you've been hearing complaints, if you have people that have complaints, they have concerns, they're worried about something, this is a time to go that's not in a public forum, that they can sit down at a corner table and have that conversation.
So there's no, like I can put this on Facebook sites that I'm on, groups,
Yeah.
Facebook groups, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's
sent
an
it out to my
event on
HOA.
the Mount Lebanon municipality, so you can share it from our
Yeah,
event.
they have a little crap.
I'll be there for the first 30 minutes.
Yeah, just stop in, encourage people to interact with the police officers. Don't dominate, like, don't get one officer in the corner for 30 minutes, but just kind of circulate.
Yeah. Well, the picture I tried to pull, we had a problem with publicity pictures because the last time we didn't have a photographer and the few pictures we did have, it was all CRB and commissioners sitting with it. So I'm like, this is not what we want. And the one before that, everybody had masks on and a lot of,
Yeah, you-
and it was the old chief and they wanted more current. So we are going to have a photographer there this time. They've been told to hang back and not be in people's faces so that we have marketing for the next one. But yeah.
I want Emily to bring the baby.
Okay, and then Margaret wrote that there's no mediations that are current right now.
Okay, cool. Jeez.
So DEI, we have the holiday event proposal pending. Do not believe we have anything else. else right now? Residence Academy, let's go through.
I gave you two documents. One is the survey comments. You can see there's the pre and post. I used what Adam had done in the past and sent that survey out. And you can see that people felt better.
Yes,
And
as it went
understood
on,
more
yeah.
at the end than they did at the beginning. You can also tell when they talked about parking accessible and safe, depending on how much snow there was that day. And I will say out of the 9 weeks, 3 Thursdays were really bad from a snow ice standpoint. It was very fun to see the fire department and the police department compete with each other. And the school district, the superintendent and assistant superintendent wanted to make sure that they scored higher than the fire department. So it is, and I sent this to Laura so that she could share with them. But yes, everybody, I would say that the 1 weak link was the recreation center not having more of an overview, but it was more focused on tennis, but he was adorable and really was, but that he couldn't address the issue. I will say I went into this a little bit blind and Karen has been wonderful and was wonderful getting things out. I didn't realize that some of the planning part of it, so I created this planning outline so that if I fell off the face of the earth, somebody else could pick it up and go from there. I would suggest that, we talk about if we're gonna ask the presenters, provide their slides to Karen or I to send out, or whoever's gonna do that next year.
So actually, I do have, I sent an email out to the
I
presenters
saw that you.
and I have a good chunk of
Oh,
them.
good.
And was just planning on waiting maybe till the end of the week to see if I get any more. I just got one today, so.
And so
And
I
I will
guess,
forward them to you when I have them.
and I think that we should like let them know that we're gonna forward those out because once it's out there, it's out there. The ifs were for next year was Hillary is running for state office, and if she's elected, won't be that person. Mary from the outreach team is retiring, so until we know who her replacement was. But people were very engaged. They really, really liked it, and it was amazing to me that the staff that did these sessions, this was after a full day of work, and they showed up and still were in good, happy, upbeat mood and presented, and it was a good group. I think next year there were a couple things that we learned. We need to indicate that you can't bring your children with you.
Things you don't think you have to
I
say.
think you don't have to say. We had someone that brought a young child that was under 2 to 3/4 of the sessions. Baby was fabulous until about 8 o'clock and then started to like.
Hit the wall as we used to
Yeah.
call it. This isn't exciting for children to learn
No,
about.
but the kid was wonderful. I think that was the only other thing. I dragged water the first 2 weeks and then sent out emails and said, bring your own water bottle, and that worked. And people brought their own water bottles because there's a water fountain. I gave Laura the receipts. It's like $172, and that was all the chips and gluten-free pretzels, pop. I mean, I don't think we need to do a lot. I mean, I was so impressed that Adam did what he did in the past, was to go to Anthos and pick all this stuff up. I just did a basket with chips and things. I don't think people really expected, but they were the people that worked really appreciated it. So I think asking them to have a water bottle wasn't a big deal, but that we should still provide some kind of popcorn chips, something.
That's it.
The only request I had is if when you send stuff out either to the presenters or the participants, if you could copy me. Because a lot of times the questions came from me, to
Right.
me, and I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
know what you're talking about, so
Yes.
that's a little bit helpful.
And what I
But
did-
we'll both me and Karen.
Yeah, and I didn't know, I think next time going through that the presenters, I will put that in the email that they need, any handouts needed to be reviewed before. The only people that handed anything out were the library and the gave you a copy, or the
Yeah.
historic.
And staff members, fine. It's
Yeah.
usually non-staff
Yes.
members that would.
But I learned a lot. It was amazing.
Well, just so you all know, I entered the Residence Academy in the 3CMA City County Communications and Marketing Association Savvy Award. They're big on metrics. It doesn't matter how good your thing is if you can't measure how good it was. Well, because I had all these survey results, I was able to demonstrate for a ridiculously low amount of money that you were able to put this program together and that the residents who attended felt it was worthwhile. So we'll see. So it's a very highly competitive thing, but
Why not, right?
Why not?
Thanks for submitting.
well, metrics are
Yeah.
always good. Anytime you ever do post-event surveys, if you get them to me, then I can do more of this.
And then we're gonna look at changing the survey so that it's more useful information for
Yeah,
you
you
next
you
year.
hit the nail on the head when you said you don't really want to survey something that you know the answer to or that you can't fix.
So one of the questions on there is parking.
Yeah.
We already know that, so I think we should take that off. I came from an environment where you don't ask what you already know that you can't fix.
Right.
And we also can emphasize in the, and when we can put this in the letter that we send out, if it's not already there, that parking on street is free after 6 PM. And in the garage, it's only
Yeah.
$2. So I don't think
It's nominal.
yeah.
Thank you for all the work of documenting.
Oh, no, that's fine.
Amazing.
And we're ready to go on January 8th of next year.
Hate to even think about winter coming.
I
back.
know, I know.
Such a non-winter person.
It was a good winter thing,
Oh,
because it got you
Yeah.
through that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Community Service Award, anything since, no.
Yeah, our writer interviewed Asta for the story. We are holding the story until the July-August issue because Asta is an interviewee for our LGBTQIA story we're doing for the June issue for Pride Month. So didn't want to have two, yeah, so
Makes sense.
we bumped her a
Right.
little bit. And again, we don't have the banquet this year, so
Mhm.
so next year will be more. on
Didn't
time.
want to overkill.
And I have to,
Oh.
I have to say, Margaret was so good at having like the whole background and
Yeah.
history of what. That
Yes.
was so helpful.
Yeah.
She really was. She had the whole background that we didn't have.
History to everything.
Yes.
Certified welcoming,
Well, you already know there's nothing, a long time from them, but related to that though, so the library now has given me more information about their welcoming week activities, which are, not set in concrete yet, but, they're pretty far along on planning, so I think this is directionally correct. So on September 15th, Monday, they're having story time, they'll have children's stories. They're trying to have like global international children's stories. The 16th, they're having a panel discussion and they're trying to get local orgs like Literacy Pittsburgh, Hello Neighbor, SFDF, and CASA, San Jose. So then maybe some more in a panel discussion. I'm gonna come back to, I'll just run through them and then I'll come back with my thoughts. The next day is a concert with a Pan-Asian group, Appalachia.
Oh, they're great. They've done First Friday before. They're very good.
Yeah, outside. Nothing on Thursday, and then Friday, they're gonna do this Global Beats. Remember I talked about Global Beats last month, where they try and do like a global event of different heritages across the year. They haven't outlined all the ones they're gonna do yet, but they think they're gonna do a Mexican one, a Hispanic one on the 20th. The Mexican band, maybe get to Topo, the bakery, Jasmine on Beverly,
Mhm.
and do it inside the library.
Hmm.
So they were very open for us to participate with them, because that was the original conversation. We want to participate with you in this. So, I
And
was
that would
hoping,
be the Hispanic Heritage.
well, Hispanic Heritage Month coincidentally starts September 15th, so
Yeah.
we can kill two
Okay.
birds with one stone again
Okay,
and do a Hispanic Heritage event.
Thursday's
Yeah.
open.
Chicken and egg, so we can do something Thursday, but one thing we talked about with them is, well, two things we can do. September 16th, when the panel discussion, we can set up a table there and just say, hey, we're the,
Yeah.
community engagement board, you need
Sure.
anything, what do you have, these are things we do, be an information table.
right,
They were happy with that, for us doing that.
okay.
But on September 20th, the Global Reach, that's where we can maybe team with them and not, and set up, because we had talked about doing something in Washington Ave, but then there was a resource issue you were worried about because of the, art thing.
Yeah, partnership, yeah.
So we could do something with them on that day. They were hoping that maybe we would help sponsor some of the food. Which would cost money, but maybe buy food,
Right.
vaguely around $1,000 maybe. Or we could buy the food, then we could be co-sponsors, we could have a table, we could participate in the event, they would say it's, brought to you by the library and the community engagement board, and then we could knock off Hispanic Heritage Month with that event. And it sounds like a good event, I mean, similar to what we were thinking about doing. I asked her, could we have like crafters? She said, well, we can't sell stuff inside the library, but maybe we could have it set up outside the library if there was room somewhere. I mean, I think they were willing to explore that. If we can think of something for that, but even without that, I think this would be a good way to ease into Hispanic Heritage Month and piggyback on this.
Yeah, definitely.
So
It's a good thing to piggyback.
I'm gonna float that out there. If everybody thought it was a good idea, then we'd have to try and see if we could, if possible, we could get money. They didn't absolutely say you had to sponsor, but I think that'd be a good thing for us to do by getting the food and.
Well, speaking of money under this committee, so again, you get to talk about winter, I get to talk about budget, but I have to get my budget requests in this summer, so in June is when I have to have everything in. So if you are considering requesting commission appropriations for the Welcoming America, I think you said that there's no fee, that would be something I would need. That would be something I would need to know by the beginning of June, like your June meeting, I would need to know to put
Yeah,
that
well, it
in my.
won't be less than, I mean, we can, we haven't talked, but we can reach out to them and say, you still, because they were gonna do it this year for 1 and 2. They were only.
Well, this would be for 2026.
Yeah.
So the budget that I put together in
Yeah.
June is for next year.
That's what we did.
See what I mean?
Plus, we have to take it offline, decide, do we want to recommend it or not?
Yeah.
Based on the benefit.
Well, in the heat of you telling me that, I was so angry. I was like, just pull it. We'll explain to the board that we were hoodwinked and like, because I did feel, I mean, that was
Yeah.
just disingenuous.
And I mean, I think Dormont, wasn't it Dormont you said it had? I think they stopped doing it. Because she said Dormont wasn't on the list anymore, so they might have decided this isn't worth the
Yeah.
money.
Yeah, we have to figure this out.
How much did they want?
12,000.
Jeez, no,
It was
it
not-
less than that. It was like 7,500 or something like that. 6,000 or 7,000.
No.
It was a number that I was
Yeah,
like, that's not
Yeah.
fair.
It was not the $500.
yeah,
Right.
exactly.
You thought of
Right.
it.
It was a lot of money, yeah.
Sure.
And I even went to their website to see, like, did they just not update their website? But they had, so that made me feel like they are, they're disingenuous to put that stuff out there and then,
And
oh,
then-
no, actually.
So, and then on the other money thing, since that would be 2025 money, as soon as you decide what amount of money you would need for an allocation, let me know and I will put that into Keith. That may be part of the manager's discretionary budget.
Yeah.
So,
So how do we, I mean, well, A, does everybody think that's a good idea? Do we want to have a conversation about that? Do we want to make a decision now? Because if we're gonna do this, they want to know if we're gonna come up with the money like in the next few weeks, because they're trying to nail down their event.
well, you would need to put in a
We may-
request for participation, that the manager would need to approve your participation. I'm gonna tell you, you probably have a pretty good chance because it's a municipal event, so.
Yeah.
But it does need to go to him for his approval, and then I would put the budget request in that. So in any assets you would want.
Right.
That's for the library.
Would,
That's
would
the
go
$1,000
into that
request.
request money.
I mean, this falls under lots of headings, so it doesn't
Right.
even have to be sort of by welcoming as the justification, yeah.
Right.
And we can say, we're co-sponsoring, I mean, subject to them,
Mhm.
And it's
I
a
soft
fan-
pitched that, they seem that they'd be okay with them to say that, especially if we come up with $1,000. But,
Okay, so we have two things that we sort of put in our submission already that now we want to sort of pull out.
okay,
Two
that's
pieces, I
okay,
mean,
that's
okay, I just,
Yeah, no, I mean, we're gonna discuss this on Tuesday, and this is very concrete. This is something I can say, this is what the proposal is that we're gonna do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's helpful. I think, commissions have to tread that thin line of how much you spend, how much you don't spend, what's worth it, what isn't worth it. Knowing more concretely what it is we're gonna do is always helpful. And the library is, really, very loved asset of this community. Doing things with them is pretty good, pretty bad.
they were a little, they were a little hesitant to know exactly how much money it was gonna cost, but they estimated upper limit, 200 people. So,
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know what we think food for 200 people would cost at that kind of event, but I mean, I'd say upper bound
is it?
evening, the evening event.
Evening.
And it's gonna be a band, but I mean, 200, I mean, there's gotta be a library capacity issue at some point too, I don't know.
oh yeah,
how that
there
happens.
definitely is.
You also,
maybe-
in the past, the CRB sought donations or underwriting for food like that. So if you thought they might
Right.
run into budget resistance, if you had, somebody who wanted to sponsor that and then you wanted to.
Right.
Well, like if we went to, so you're saying hypothetically, if we went to the Topo and said, we'd love you to give some food, but, we don't have a lot of money, so could you?
Maybe they could reduce
Give
the
us a
cost of
quick
it, and then
price,
there
yeah.
might be another, volunteer group out there, association, there's little community grants floating around that you might be able to.
And that's what
underwrite,
the
so.
library would do if we didn't get our money, so
Mhm.
we could still try and do that, but it'd be good to get. Like, if possible, to say, commission say, we could spend up to $2,000, and it's probably significantly less, but then we lease them. But go full bore on planning with them,
Mhm.
otherwise you're just kind of stuck without.
okay, so our first question is, do we want to do this? And then we can come up with some parameters of what we're asking.
Yeah,
And
that's
ultimately, you're gonna have to write a few
Yeah,
paragraphs for us.
but- I mean, I think the other alternative, if we wanted to do Hispanic Heritage Month, and we'd have to be asking about now, would be
Yeah.
do something on that Thursday, the open day. But based on it's our first year, based on what you said about the municipal resources being stretched, my personal view is this is a layup.
Yeah.
And the other, and doing something ourselves on Thursday is a marathon,
Mhm.
so I'd rather do a layup on year one and then
Yeah,
figure out in the
yeah,
future if
exactly.
something better we can
Yeah.
do. But that's just my opinion, so
Right,
everybody gets to weigh in on what they think.
right. I agree. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just participate, be part of it.
So, yes on participation.
Yes.
Okay, and we're requesting $1,000 to participate?
I'd probably, I don't know what the pain threshold is, I'd probably say 1,500, and we'll try and spend less, but that's a bit, because
I mean,
we're
people
gonna have
will
200
already,
people.
this isn't going to be their meal for the evening. They're
Yeah,
gonna have
yeah.
eaten before.
talking
this.
about $1,000
Yeah, say
stuff like
1,000,
that.
say 1,000, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
All right, well, do me a favor, why doesn't one of you move and vote on that, and then I will put it into
So I'll
our
make-
list as a.
Make the motion to request up to
Up to 1,000.
up to $1,000 to fund our participation in the Hispanic Heritage event on September 19th. Yeah, sorry, September 19th.
With an 11.
Friday's
Well,
Friday.
yeah,
Friday's
right.
September 20th. It's Friday, September 20th.
I
Okay.
second that motion.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Do we need to do anything about Pride since that's coming
Can I
up?
just finish, I just want to
Sorry.
finish this. So do you need more verbiage? I mean, do you
I
want?
actually don't, so
Kevin,
now that you
right?
voted on it, I have, whenever this board votes on an action, I put in a list item that gets sent to the municipal manager that then goes in front of the,
Okay,
so I will
so
do that.
Kevin doesn't need to like
Kevin's on
write,
the- okay.
doesn't need to
To
write.
clarify that, Friday, September 20th, Global Beats Hispanic. Friday, September 20th, well, it's the Global Beats Hispanic Night.
Got Right.
Okay, I have a question
Yeah.
to go with that, because Laura had a really good suggestion when we were kicking the whole idea of tabling and whether when we do that, who does it, around, none of it being resolved, mind you, but we were kind of discussing it out in the stratosphere. Laura suggested that many of us attend block parties because block parties are an easy way to get to know people on a street. They don't have to go to the library or any place else, and you tend to pick up and see people that you may not see at the farmer's market or at the, first, it's gonna be last Fridays, whatever Friday, one of those Fridays. And Laura suggested putting together a sheet or some kind of pass out that would involve questions that people oftentimes have. I wondered this, when I'm listening to this, and I'm thinking we're gonna be drawing some people that are perhaps new to the community, that are perhaps Hispanic. Whether it would be worth doing something like that, taking what Laura was gonna do for us for block parties and adapting it to answer questions that new residents coming in from a different culture might have.
Good idea, because I think we should have, if we're co-sponsoring, we should have a table there, so we can have that at our table. And
It would be, it's outreach. It's like,
Yeah,
here you go.
yeah.
Here's a way to understand how to interact. And we could have things like the Residents Academy on it, Citizens Police
Yeah.
Academy, Fire Academy, just so it's another way to touch people. I just volunteered you, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. The concern was that, it's hard to reach people who may be averse to coming to official municipal
Yeah.
events.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. That was something I was bringing up when we were talking to I was talking to the other commissioners. I said, the point that's being made is that sometimes, we need different types of events to draw people that don't just come to 4th of July.
Yeah.
Who may not ever celebrate that, and why are they
Yeah.
gonna start
Yeah.
participating in it now? So that's where that
Good.
idea. Okay, cool.
Okay, Pride.
Oh, no, I was just bringing up if we're gonna do it this year,
We've got a request.
do we have any budget requests for that,
Well, so first of all, we have to request to
Do it.
do it,
to do it?
yeah, and then. So do we want to request to table this?
Yes.
And what would you be doing? I mean, last year it was, you had a question, right?
Adam had a
That's-
real,
Last year we did we had a board where we solicited responses from people about what would be like do you feel welcome in Mount Lebanon, or what would you need to feel welcome in Mount Lebanon? Something like that was the question. I have the results somewhere. But that was what we did, and we talked to people about how they could feel more welcome, what they would need, what kind of things that they would want to feel more welcome in the community. And then we took that and I wrote down all the responses, and then we shared them out, the responses. Like,
you did, yeah, that was in. We got responses, Adam got responses about, like, we should do this in Upper St. Clair, or why doesn't Dormont? Township do this? Yeah. It was fabulous, though. So do we want to do that again or not?
Was it worth the time?
What is?
The Liba Pride is June 14th.
Right.
it's just that's something I enjoyed doing, and I'm happy to do it again. I think it's just going to be a matter of whether or not we get approval to do it again. Because I think Keith's been it was like kind of grandfathered in like for last year, and we'll see if we get it approved again.
I bought the tattoos.
I still probably have a few Skittles left over, so I won't tell people they're a year old.
Okay, so we need to vote to formally request that we can do it. So someone want to make that motion?
Motion to vote.
I'll
In
second.
a second.
I don't know that we need a budget to do so. Yeah, we just need the resource, we just need,
A table and chairs and a tat,
Okay.
cause Adam bought the Skittles and I already got the tattoos.
and I brought a table too, so.
He brought the table.
And staffing.
And staff,
And staff,
which is ultimately the biggest. part.
Right.
So, yeah. Okay, so, where are we? Any discussion, any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Great, okay, so we'll, Laura, do we?
Nope, I'm typing it in right now.
Great, with no budget request.
Well, other than we still need some kind of sign.
Yeah.
Like table swag, which
Yeah.
is in that.
Yeah.
No additional budget request.
So like getting a tabling sign would be, $100 to $200.
But anybody can use it.
Municipality could use it for other things.
Yeah,
Right.
So,
it would not be
Yeah.
branded
right,
community
Yeah.
engagement report, it's branded Mount Lebanon.
that's right. Everything is brand Mount Lebanon.
It's exactly what we want.
so should we actually vote now again to request?
Well, that's already been
It's
requested.
already in there.
It is.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
sort of clear exactly.
I know. So am I half the time, but you know,
Okay.
somehow it gets pushed forward.
They won't let us buy it, I'm gonna buy it, and I'm gonna rent it to everybody who wants to buy it.
That's right.
Make a profit.
Have to get the right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can
it's
tell you
not-
the number. Number would agree. Okay, any other new business? Seeing none.
So
Okay.
actually, I just want to clarify. So I just need to get the details about the committees that you're forming for this coming year and the people that are on them.
So here's,
So-
can I tell you what I know right now?
Yep.
And these are not complete lists. So policing.
I'm sorry, I had to jump early, but.
Yeah.
Okay,
See ya.
having to leave.
so police engagement, I have Terry and Emily. Does anyone else want? Okay. Mediations, we have, is
Open.
okay, well, it's open, I mean, it's Margaret.
Margaret and Ted,
It's
yeah.
Yeah,
Margaret and
Margaret,
Ted.
We definitely want to get someone new in, so there's a
Mhm.
transition.
Yeah. The DEI, I have Emily, Kevin, and Noah. Residence Academy, I have Anna. And no one else spoke up.
I'm glad to work with Ann on that.
Okay. Anna and Terry. Community Service Award, I have Anna as chair, and then we need 2 additional members.
It's really easy.
It
It took
really
a
is.
whole like 4 days.
And it's fun.
It's fun.
When does it
It happens in end of February. It's like it's like a week.
I can help you with that.
Okay.
I'll probably push it to the beginning of February, because we'll need to know, because we usually have our volunteer dinner in like March or April.
Okay.
So we need to know a
We
little
can
bit
do it
sooner
in
so we
February.
can make sure.
As long as it's
Really
not
like no
summer.
time,
Yeah,
and you
it's
can
just-
do it, yeah, and it's like one of those things that you could do.
There's no
Maybe
pool,
the slate,
I
right,
become even
perfect.
more vigorous.
We got it covered. It's just
Basically, the
more
timing
full-time
of
kids.
it. We may get away with it. Maybe I should get about the mediations.
So let's add Kevin to the mediations.
Yeah, because there's gonna be a
Yeah.
gap in time, so somebody could get trained.
I was gonna say, I'll share with you some training, opportunities that we couldn't do last year because the time had passed. But they're
Coming up.
looking like they're coming up in the fall. So
Yeah.
I'll get you that
Get
information.
up to speed, so there's no gap, at least.
Okay.
If we get a lawyer.
Mhm.
In certified welcoming, I have Emily and Kevin. MLK Day, I have Kelsey, Kevin, Noah.
And you could put me on, either DEI, certified welcoming, okay, whatever you need.
MLK, we can't do that.
Yeah, that's
Agree with us.
Yep.
Let's put you on DEI. So put Tim on DEI.
On DEI.
Yeah,
And Noah is on all.
I'm on all.
Right.
And really, technically, we can have as many people on the committee as one to me, just you can't have more than 5 people.
Right.
Okay, and then, so the community survey, that's done.
Where do you, yeah.
That's done. All right, so let me just read that back. Police engagement is Emily and Terry. Residence Academy,
Yeah. I'm on
Noah is on all of them,
Yeah,
correct?
it's your-
So I'm just Noah is on all of them. But yeah, so Residence Academy, Anna and Terry. Community Service, Anna and Emily. Mediation, Margaret, Tim, and Kevin. DEI, Emily, Kevin, Noah, and Tim. MLK, Kelsey, Kevin, Noah, and Certified Welcoming, Emily and Kevin. Is that correct?
And you can add people. I just wanted to get that baseline.
Yep.
I just wanted to remind you, you have Todd.
Todd Hoffman from the school board.
Yeah. And then, Todd, do you want to share with us?
Sure, yeah, the school board is going through the budget process currently. This coming Monday, which is what, the 7th, there's a budget forum preceding the discussion meeting. So we'll have about an hour, however long it takes to go through the budget forum, and then a little bit of a break, and then we'll roll into the discussion meeting. There's been a lot of work on the budget over the past 12 months, and as we all know, things continue to evolve, and we're doing the best we can to stay out in front of possible budget changes or shifts federally and by the state. So definitely a good one to show up to if you're able to make it.
That's at 6 PM, right?
6 p.m. Monday night.
Yeah, you're elected, Sandy. I'll tell you what.
Any other business? So our next meeting is Wednesday, May 7th at 6 p.m. And I adjourn this.
Thank you.
See you, Todd.
Thanks. Take care.
Here, thank